But I feel really bad for the pressure that Graham is getting on Yata now. Nobody ever makes that claim that, oh, hey, yeah, we're vetting these companies. I support Graham. I'll never not support him.
Fraud! As I'm sure you're familiar with, there's been a huge catastrophe happening with fintech banks across America. Banks like Copper, Yata, and a few others have been in some deep turmoil, freezing end users' money. It's been about a month. I posted a video about it originally when it first happened because I've been directly affected, as many of you have. We created a little bit of a community. That video got a lot of views and a lot of you guys have been talking. But now that the dust has settled a little bit and I have more knowledge and a few people have spoken up, I decided let's do a little bit of an update video 1 month in, just to break down exactly what is going on with the situation for you guys, how things are looking, and to really call out some YouTubers. We did before, but we're gonna go in now. So guys, grab some popcorn if you can afford it, and let's jump right in. So the original narrative of my video last month, which if you haven't watched it, go check. We have a great little community over there of people just discussing how things are going over there. But the original narrative was that Yata, messed up this whole situation and that they were to blame. I touched briefly on Graham Stephan and his video introducing many people to this platform when he promoted it. And he was a partial owner and all that stuff too. Now that the dust has settled a little bit and there's been a lot of court hearings, the story has shifted a little bit, and I think that the blame needs to be put onto the processing company Synapse. In all actuality, there's been a lot of shady dealings with this processing company, and they seem to be the main player in causing this entire disaster to unfold. A lot of the knowledge that I have gained over the last month has been because of the Reddit group /Yata. So definitely consider joining this group, guys. There's 6,000 members and they're constantly sharing updates with everybody regarding everything. So if you want to get the inside scoop, I would highly consider joining this group. Another good group that you can join would be the Synapse, let me find it, Synapse Victims Fight. It's a little bit of a smaller group that I was invited from the last video to join, and it's less Yata centric because a lot of other people in other banks are being affected by this situation as well, and Synapse is the real culprit here in my opinion. So join these groups if you guys want to get some real-time updates. I was trying to update people in the comments of the last video and it just wasn't really working out, so we're doing the update video today. So through all the court hearings, it seems like Synapse is really the one to blame. Back in May when this all unfolded, everything halted because Synapse stopped sending the ledgers, which are just all the paperwork verifying transactions and things of that sort. So when they stopped doing so, Evolve froze all of the accounts because they couldn't verify whether or not certain transactions were fraudulent, certain transactions were real or not, and Yata was just kind of sitting in the background. They're just the face company and they really don't have too much to do with this entire situation. However, Synapse made some shady moves in the end days of their contract with Evolve Bank. Apparently, their contract ended between Synapse, the processing company, and Evolve Bank, and Synapse decided that they were going to move all of the money, the end user's money, from the Evolve FDIC insured bank accounts to Synapse brokerage accounts. Apparently, they didn't even allocate the money to the separate accounts. They just took a lump sum amount from Evolve Bank, leaving a small portion behind, and they moved it over to these supposed accounts. However, there's no paperwork verifying any of this. The money is just missing. Straight up. So they moved all this money into this new account, and they were promising FDIC insurance or SBIC insurance of up to $500,000. However, Synapse is not recognized by the FDIC as a bank. So that's where things start to get a little sketchy sketchy. FDIC has made a post probably a few weeks ago stating that they don't cover this type of situation because the Synapse company is the one going through the bankruptcy, and they are not recognized as a bank because they're a processing company. So this whole thing is just getting into a huge mess, and essentially they moved all these funds out of the insured account and it's just missing now. Like I said in the previous video, everybody's in court pointing fingers at each other, but Synapse seems to be the real problem here. They took the money, they stopped sending ledgers, and now the money is missing. So it just sounds like a straight up fraud situation to me, allegedly. That's all I'm gonna say. Just another thing to take note of with Synapse and their shady dealings is that while all of this court stuff is happening, while Synapse is filing for bankruptcy, while they misplaced hundreds of millions of dollars of end users' funds, the CEO of Synapse is starting a new company, guys. So he doesn't even care that his current company isn't even over with yet, but he's jumping into starting a new company, a robotics startup. Isn't that great? Robotics startup co-founded by Synapse CEO is raising funds with exaggerated claims about GM ties. They're making some sort of humanoid robots. It's a startup and they're working with GM Motors. I don't really care, to be quite honest, but it's kind of ridiculous that the CEO is starting a new company when his current company is absolutely failing right now and is in court because they're filing for Chapter 11 or Chapter 8 bankruptcy. I don't understand how this is happening. Clearly fraud has happened on Synapse's behalf, allegedly, and I would imagine there's some sort of internal investigation. These people's accounts are being watched, and you know, just to start like a startup like this while this is all happening, not the best look. So that's where we're at with this situation. A few key notes is that a FDIC trustee has been appointed to the case, and she's doing her best to try to get things moving forward, but it's been about a good 2 or 3 weeks of all three companies meeting in court and essentially just saying, we don't know where this money is, it's not our fault, it's their fault, and nothing is really getting done. It's kind of a stalemate situation. Another thing to keep note of is that while this money has been missing, some Synapse insiders have said that this has been going on for years. They've been fudging the numbers, and millions of dollars have been missing for up to 2 years. So not the best thing. You definitely don't want to hear that if you have money in these accounts. So that's the entire situation where we're at today with the Synapse situation, with the Yata situation, with the Copper situation, whatever bank that you are affiliated with. So while pressure is being pushed on these people, not much has really happened, unfortunately, and we're probably going to be waiting for another 6 months to hear something. I don't even know if we're going to wind up getting our money back, but it's probably going to be a long, drawn-out experience. But what I really wanted to make this video, what really triggered me to make this video, guys, is meet Kevin. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. If you joined Yata Bank because of Graham Stephan, you definitely know Meet Kevin because they're buddies. They're in the same sphere. They're financial YouTubers. And I saw this video that Meet Kevin posted regarding Graham Stephan and this entire situation, guys. And he's pretty much just playing defense for his buddy. And the whole video just kind of struck me a little weird. It's a little bit out of touch, if you ask me. And it's a little bit old as well. It's about 2 weeks old. I'm a little late to the party, but I saw this and I was like, we're reacting to this, so let's jump right in. This is his response video to CoffeeZilla's video, which is a great video CoffeeZilla released. It's a little too heavy on the lottery end of the app, which isn't the main issue. I wish that was kind of put after the whole fraudulent thing in his video, but you know, 4 or 5 million people have watched that, so it's definitely giving some, you know, putting eyes on the situation, putting a little fire on the asses of these companies. But let's see what Meet Kevin has to say about this whole dang.
We need to talk about Graham Stephan. Alright, so here's the scoop. Graham Stephan a few years back made a video that he invested into a bank called Yata Bank, which is actually advertised as not a bank. What a lot of fintechs do now is they try to attract capital and then make money in different ways. So that could be interest rate arbitrage, like let's say they're able to borrow from their depository bank at, let's say, 5%, and they give you 4.75% as a yield on savings, quote unquote, that they have with you. Sorry, we're taking off, so it might get a little noisy here. But anyway, it's just getting ready to storm, so we're taking off like last second.
Don't you love that, guys? He's making this response video on Graham's behalf, and you know, he's got to get the intro of him boarding his private jet. You know, get the jet sounds and the sound effect. You gotta love it, bro. It's so out of touch. Like, you couldn't have just sat in your office and filmed this video real quick. Come on, dude. I know I'm picking it apart a little bit, but come on, bro. Let's see what else.
Thanks, Denver. Anyway, so an easy thing a lot of fintechs do that try to innovate,
putting
so to
your
speak,
pilot's
in the
life
finance
in
space
risk.
They partner with
In
depository
danger.
banks, and as a result, they're able to offer products or apps or services that may not otherwise exist. In the case of Yata, that started with a sort of lottery system where the more you had deposited, the more you were able to earn over time, and it kind of devolved a little bit into gambling.
Before he goes further, interesting theory that I would like to mention is that I saw something floating around on one of the subreddits speculating that perhaps Synapse has been working as a pyramid scheme all along. So the way that Yata offered their incentives, as I'm sure you're aware, you didn't get normal interest rates. You would receive prizes, and sometimes it would be upwards of 3% back on your money. A lot of people speculated, though, that Synapse would hold end users' money and put it into Evolve Bank, collecting interest as normal, and would only pay out Yata for prizes as necessary, scraping the additional interest money of all the end users' accounts off the top for themselves. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's definitely something interesting to put forward, to put out there, and you know, it's food for thought. Maybe that is what's going on.
And there's one thing that I know about Graham, and this is what I want to talk about, and then I gotta bring up clear value tax here in a moment as well. But Graham is not a risk taker. Graham is a very honest person. We were really great friends for about 4 years, and I know he really wants what's best for the vast majority of people. I don't think he's a bad person. He would never recommend a knowingly bad product. And quite frankly, what's going on with Yata isn't even Yata's fault at the moment. Now, I'll talk about that in a moment, and we'll talk about solutions and what's likely to happen and all that. But I want to make this very clear. Even though we've grown apart over the last few years, and there have been some mistakes that I made, which I apologize over, basically.
What
but
he's
either
referring
way,
to.
I know Graham maybe better than a lot of people on the internet, or people who are just like social media friends, where it's like, oh yeah, you have subscribers, let's do a collab or whatever. My relationship with Graham was always from this friend point of view, where it didn't really matter if we made videos together or not. We actually had a legitimately good time hanging out together. And the insight that I learned about Graham during those times is social anxiety actually gets to him a lot. So I noticed he hasn't been posting in a while. Maybe like the last 6 days or so, which is a little abnormal. Usually you'd see some on his second channel. Probably, I mean, Iced Coffee Hours once a week. They just had Michael Saylor, which was a good interview. And it's been a little quiet on his main channel, too. And so I'm worried about him. I think the pressure that people put on creators is, quite frankly, extreme. Now, I'm not saying it's unfair. It's okay to put pressure on creators, especially when mistakes happen.
So that's the overarching narrative of his video, is that he feels bad for Graham. Thanks for the permission to put pressure on Graham, bro. We really needed it. But like, dude, like, I get that some people are probably going crazy and saying some crazy stuff, but a vast majority just wants Graham to make a statement about this. Just at least, like, just make a video, bro. It's not anything crazy. And then carry on with your business as usual. From my knowledge, the guy hasn't even mentioned it. He hasn't even, like, looked in the direction of this entire just shit pile.
For example, when the FTX collapse happened, both Graham and I, we were on a podcast together, and we at one point were sponsored by FTX, which obviously is a terrible scar on our reputations, but a lot of people were sponsored by FTX. Stadiums were. Taylor Swift signed a contract with FTX. Her contract never got started because, well, they kind of went bankrupt too soon. So she lucked out. And instead she's got, I think, Capital One sponsoring all of her events. Taylor Swift would have been sponsored. Tom Brady. These are people that aren't provided financial statements from these companies, and nobody ever makes that claim that, oh, hey, yeah, we're vetting these companies. In fact, I quite frankly remember when we talked about FTX, our POV was, hey, this is a cool app. They've got a TradingView integration, so you could trade through TradingView. I thought it was really cool. Want to be a part of it? You can.
I love how he says, you know, he mentions the FTX scam that they were all involved in. Yes, I agree that a lot of larger people with huge platforms were pushing this forward. It was a huge thing at the time. You're really gonna say like, none of us said we vetted it. You should be vetting your sponsors, dude. Like you're pushing it forward onto your fans, and you're just gonna straight up say, yeah, I take sponsorships, and I tell you guys to purchase products that I don't vet. That's kind of a crazy claim. I gotta say, man, maybe you should have put a little more work into this before you jumped onto your private jet. You could have just worked on your script while you were flying, but nah, whatever.
Now, obviously, it ended up going bankrupt. Now, people are going to get their money back out of it, which is incredible. Now we're going through the storm. But that's a scar on us, because people think, oh, just because we're YouTubers, we should have some secret access to information that we don't. And we don't. We never said we did. But I feel really bad for the pressure that Graham is getting on Yata now, quite frankly, because I know he's such a good person. He provides such good value online. I think people just like to target him because he has a bigger subscriber number. And so it's easy to sort of make fun of, oh, look how stupid these people are. That's not true. It's not representative of Graham. I'm not involved in Yata, but even if I was, it wouldn't be representative of me either.
I mean, if you were somebody who said, sign up for a Yata account, and millions of people did under your, command, I'm sure that they would, bro. All I'm saying is, like, I understand, I don't think it has to do with his subscriber count. It's just that he has a very large reach, and a lot of people have been directly affected because of his video. And that's really just what it boils down to. He made a video promoting a product, and we just want to hear a response in light of the situation. He's a financial YouTuber. You would think that he would talk about this. This is big news in finance, in the finance sphere. Fintechs are going down. Nobody's gonna talk about that because you used to be sponsored by them? Mention it, dude. It's a huge story. While filming this as well, I just want to make note that this is a page that is live on Yata right now. Just going over Graham. It's a huge fluff piece, and it pretty much just goes over his entire life story right on Yata's page. So, posting a video that says, I own a bank is one thing, which it should be enough, but this is definitely a whole nother level. He's fully entangled with this company.
We're not running those businesses. It's just the way it is. Unfortunately, some companies succeed, some companies fail. Now, if my company, House Hack, fails, that's on me. But I'm flying around right now looking at real estate to make sure that doesn't happen. So you got a little House Hack flag here. The only company that I can truly have control over is a company that I run. And what I know about Graham is that he provides great quality content for people looking for introductory finance information. He's not a scam. He's not a grifter. He's a person who provides great value. And if people want to pay him more for other things that he does, or products he has, or things that he pitches, they have that prerogative. In every single video, when you watch Graham's videos, he's very consistent. Buy the S&P. Get into real estate. Yes, our price is going to fluctuate, of course, but here's how you can minimize your risk. He's not a gambler. He's a very conservative investor. He's a conservative business person. And I know that the hate he's getting online right now is misplaced because it's not his fault. And there's nothing he could have done about Yata to prevent this from happening. There's literally nothing he could have done. It's not his fault at all. And it's just sad, the pressure that he's getting, because really what it's doing is it's removing him from wanting to post content, which removes value that other people could be getting. Like,
removing him and removing value? How about all the money that was removed from our account, brother? This whole thing, like, is crazy. You really thought this was a good idea of me, Kevin. You really thought to make this video to play defense for Graham. Maybe he thought, like, his friendship would rekindle after this. Probably.
Maybe he was going to post a video breaking down the latest crypto bill or whatever, and people could learn from it and learn how to make money. You could learn from people's mistakes and their successes. I do that all the time. I feel like I get almost financially naked with people in my, course member live streams or my trade alerts or whatever. I'm like, look, here's how I screwed up. Here's what I did wrong. Damn.
Again, like, I think that he's beating a dead horse here. This is not, for me at least, this is not the issue at hand. Even for my first video, I said, like, I understand that Graham this isn't really like an overarching thing on his character. I said I'm giving the guy the benefit of the doubt here. However, all we want is for him to stand up and face it head on and mention the situation. The dude's acting like a wimp, bro. Like, come on, let's be real. He put us all into this situation. I understand that, you know, we have free will or whatever. We chose to do this, but you could at least acknowledge the large group of fans that you once had that are just waiting to hear from you. And I'm sure that this negatively affected his account drastically. He could have handled this much better by just making a statement about it. But no, now we're here. It's a huge mess, and you got Meet Kevin trying to help his friend because he's getting depressed. Meh.
But I feel bad for him. But anyway, yeah, clear value tax. I mean, I may as well, since I brought it up, I wrote down a couple notes from his video.
I'm gonna skip over all of this clear value tax stuff that he's talking about, and I think that's where he's getting a lot of this from. Like, bro, I don't care if another YouTuber is coming for Graham. That's not the issue at hand here. And honestly, I don't think that it really even relates to any of this. Maybe that guy, you know, it's another situation that he can use to poke fun at Graham, and that's how it all ties in. But, you know, YouTubers are gonna have YouTuber beef. That's just how it goes. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying anything about Graham's character. Well, I am now. But originally, it wasn't about Graham's character, you know. I'm sure that he promoted good products all along, and a bad one is bound to come up every once in a while. But, you know, make a statement about it, dude. You own you're running a financial YouTube account, and this is a huge deal in the financial space.
We can, you know, take the emotional route, which this is what people like to do, right? Like, if you're 16 or whatever, it's like, oh, haha, Graham got caught, you know, promoting Yata Bank, and now people can't get their money out. Graham's a scam. Like, that's a funny, haha thing to catch on and to, like, promote. But it's diluted from the reality of, quite frankly, any company that helps promote a startup.
It's not people who are 16. That is a crazy umbrella statement and generalization that you're making. There are people of vastly different ages who have been affected by this. It's not just some 16-year-old trolls online who are typing on their keyboards at Graham. There are people who have life savings gone from this situation, okay? And I understand that it wasn't the smartest decision or whatever, but again, I digress.
Any startup can fail. In fact, 80% of new businesses fail within 2 to 5 years. Like, it's gonna happen. Businesses fail. But what's interesting is what's happening at Yata is it's not even their business that's failing. It's one of their intermediaries that's failing, which means it's not where people's money is that's at risk. It's not, that's FDIC insured at the underlying bank. The problem is, in between Yata and the underlying bank, you can't process ledgers appropriately to figure out exactly where everybody's money is. So what's going to happen is auditing firms will get involved and make sure that everybody gets access to their money in a timely manner. I don't know when that will be, but it will happen. And it's unfortunate that people's money is locked up. This is why I personally bank at JP Morgan.
He goes on this whole spiel about how he banks at JP Morgan because if JP Morgan goes down, America is in turmoil, period. Which, yeah, it's a good, you know, really nice sentiment. You're pretty much just telling us that it's all our fault, which I agree. You gotta do your research and look into the banks or whatever, but to say that it's our fault in this video where it's like, I feel bad for Graham, this whole video just gave me the ick, brother. I was like, damn, you're really defending Graham and then saying like, hey, it's your fault for going with this bank, go with somebody reputable, this isn't Graham's issue, he doesn't need to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, the dude posted a video titled, I own a bank. Like, you need to make a statement about said bank, even if you aren't the owner, like, in technicality.
Unfortunately, when you bank with a startup, not a bank, which they've always said, we are not a bank, you might end up running into issues. So if people have all of their money in Yata, that sucks. And I feel horrible for them. I'm confident they're going to get their money back because their money is in an FDIC-insured bank and on the underlying level. But unfortunately, now people are going to be out of that money for potentially 3 to 6 months. And Yata Bank will probably collapse. It will probably fail because as soon as people can get their money out, they'll never want that risk again. They'll take their money out and Yata will collapse, which is terrible. Which means now Graham loses his investment in the business as well, which maybe, you know what, rightfully so. I invested $420,000 into BlockFi. Guess how much of that I got back? Zero. It's gone. It evaporated. Whereas people in FTX who have deposits in there, even though every single person in the creator community I know made warning videos to get out like in the weeks before it went to collapse, they'll get all of their money back.
It's also an interesting thing to note. He's like, oh, you know, as creators, we don't have any inside knowledge that you guys want us to share. Yet you're making a statement that all creators a week prior to the collapse warned to pull the money out. That sounds like some knowledge right there, right?
So I'm making this video not because it's popular, and it's probably going to get hate, but because it's the right thing to do. Graham is not a bad person. He's not a scam. I support Graham. I'll never not support him. I just feel very bad for, yes, the people who right now are stuck, but also for Graham.
He gives some advice, which is out of touch, to be quite honest, because when he recapped that entire situation, it just goes to show he doesn't really know what's going on. He did no research into what's actually happening with this situation. He's saying that your money is FDIC insured. Don't worry, you'll get your money in time. And the reality of the situation is Evolve no longer lists Yata as a partner. And supposedly, Synapse has removed all of the money from the FDIC insured accounts. And FDIC has claimed they don't cover the collapse of a processing company because they're not recognized as a bank. So the situation is a lot more complicated and intricate than Kevin is making it out to seem. That's pretty much it from him, but it just goes to show that he's playing defense for his buddy Graham, and he has no idea really what's happening with the situation. And it's kind of crazy to see, man. Like, I'm calling you out, Kevin. Straight up, dude. You didn't need to make this video. You could have just messaged your boy Graham if you wanted your friendship to be rekindled. And you kind of just put yourself in the middle of crossfire, in my opinion, to be quite honest. At the end of the day, Graham may not be a scam artist or a grifter, as some are saying, but in my opinion, the way that this holding's playing out, he's spineless, and he at least is coming off as spineless because he's not making any type of mention about fintechs collapsing or the bank that he promoted going under. This is huge financial news, and you would think a financial YouTuber would cover it, not make another real estate video just like the other 10 that you released. But that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope that I informed you with some of the new updates of the situation. Hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel and we all get our money, guys. Like I said, if you want to keep updated with the updates regarding all of this, I highly suggest getting into that Yata group on Reddit, getting into that Synapse Victims Fight group as well, and I'm sure that you'll get updated with all the court hearings and summaries of what goes down weekly. So that's gonna do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider dropping a like and a comment for your boy Peablar. You know, I'm out here. I'm doing it. I'm trying to spread some knowledge with you guys and call out these people when something ridiculous like this occurred. I post 3 times a week, so consider getting into the loop if you like this type of content. You can hit that subscribe and that bell and join the Peablar army. Make it a part of your schedule. As for me, I am your boy Peablar, guys. It's been real, and until next time, be well and peace.